Last week, I worked on Miss Marvel and Goose, and you guys gave me some tips on how to bend the plastic in a more efficient way. You're awesome. Today, I'm doing the other two main characters of the Marvels. I like Monica Rambeau. Her backstory is interesting and I really like the design of her suit. And they did a pretty good job with the figure. As for Captain Marvel, I have to say I wasn't super interested in this particular figure. This outfit looks a lot like her first suit, but toned down. But I do prefer this suit over her final suit in the movie. Let's deconstruct this figure. There's an FAQ on the paint and brushes I use in the description box below. Overall, the three figures from this wave are good. There are minimal obvious missing paint details. That said, I feel like they aren't worth getting at full price, especially Captain Marvel. It's mostly due to its design. Because the suit is mostly blue, it makes the figure look unpainted, or too simplistic, especially when compared to the other Captain Marvel figures. The face is pretty decent. They've always done a good job capturing Brie Larson's likeness. Monica is the best figure of the three. They totally capture Theona's likeness. I also appreciate that they aren't using the same body type for their figures. The proportions are more true to life. I wasn't planning on doing anything to Monica, but my Monica has some QC issues. The paint on the emblem on the chest is a bit chipped. That's an easy to fix issue. But there are these weird scuffs on her neck, hair, and forehead. I thought I would be able to just scratch them off, but no. It appears that I got a figure with a couple of defects. Boo. QC issue aside, I actually think both figures are perfectly fine the way they are. But now I have a reason to work on them. There are a couple of minor changes I want to make them even better. So... Hello, this is Ken. I like making things. I like making things out of paper, and I like making things cooler. Especially my figures. Sometimes figures don't look all that screen accurate. All they need is a bit of touch-up here and there to unleash their hidden potential. I also love using everyday tools and materials to recreate iconic scenes from my figures, so they can shine on my display. Subscribe to my channel and join my DIY adventure as I ask myself the same question every week. Can I make it? Let's start with Monica. Looking at the reference images, I think they did a decent job with the various finishes, like how they added a shine to the shoulder pads and the chest piece. But I want to differentiate the various finishes even more, so I'm going to paint over all the other black areas to mattify them. Since this suit is mostly black and white, having a variety of finishes will elevate this figure and make the suit look more interesting. Oh, I noticed that the front side of her thighs seem to be made out of the same rubbery material as the shoulder pads and the chest piece, so I'm not going to paint over them with the black. Instead, I'm going to mix a bit of silver with the black to get a dark gunmetal color and apply this over the shoulder pads and the chest piece. Ooh, I like the frosted texture. This is gonna work. Let me do that to the thighs as well. I like the subtle sheen, but I want the color to be a shade lighter so it stands out. Let me lighten it by mixing a bit more silver. Ooh, that's nice. I love it. Let me quickly do the other side as well. Done. Looking good. Now I'm going to use the leftover silver paint to quickly patch up the emblem on the chest and make the tips sharper. I like that they used this shiny plastic for her boots. It makes her boots stand out against the suit. But I'm going to mattify the knee pads and part of her boots to give the boots a bit more texture, so they don't look like they're made out of the same plastic. And to finish it off, I'm going to add a thin coat of matte varnish over the gunmetal areas to give them that rubbery finish. Ta-da! Now the suit has this rubbery latex look to it. I also painted over the thin lines on her back. I think they're supposed to be silver. Lastly, I gotta patch up that weird thing on her neck. The figure is also missing this very minor detail, but there's this little divot on the collar, kinda like Captain Marvel's. Steady, steady. I only got one shot at it. Okay, that's good enough. Let me blend out the color so the skin tone matches. On to Captain Marvel. Her outfit's mostly blue. I want to define the various parts of the suit a bit more, to make the details pop, and make the figure look less like it's made out of the same plastic. I mixed myself this lighter shade of blue and I'm going to apply this over the belt, to add a bit of separation between the top half and the bottom half of the outfit. Next, I'm going to apply the same lighter blue over the upper torso area and down the middle, kinda like how they appear here. Okay, I'm also going to add this color to the inner side of her pants. Actually, I'm also going to paint over the sides of the torso as well. The good thing is, this sculpt is very well done. I just need to follow what's on the sculpt. And while I'm at it, let me paint the inner arms too, and the ends of her sleeves, and the gloves. Okay, now I'm going to mix myself a darker blue color and apply a bit of it over the boots, to make them a tad darker, so it's not the same shade of blue as her pants. Now it's time to give the suit that rubbery look. I'm going to go over all the lighter areas with a matte varnish. This will help seal the paint and give these areas that rubbery shine. And over the boots as well to give them that leathery finish. Okay, I think I overdid it. The lighter blue looks smoother now, but it's way too light. Let me darken it by adding a wash of dark blue over it. Okay, that looks better. The color is much more muted, including the gold buckles on her belt. Oops. So let me fix that with this champagne gold. Let's test the color to see if it matches first. Ah, it's a very similar shade of gold. Nice. So let me fix the buckles. I'm also going to add this gold to the diamond thingies on the wrist guards and those little triangles on her gloves. And finally, I'm going to use a damp brush and go over the lines of the upper torso with the black, to deepen the grooves slightly. On to the faces. Let's start with Captain Marvel. It's overall good. I like what they've done, but it looks a bit flat, like a 2D drawing. I think it would work on its own, but on the figure that already has minimal colors, it just looks too basic. So I'm going to add a bit more color to Brie Larson's face. A little bit of red on her cheeks, and a bit of red here and there. As for the hair, I'm going to darken the hair a bit. Blonde hair is hard to do right. It's not yellow, it's not gold, it's not white. There's actually a range of colors in it. I'm using this dark brown color as my shading color. And then I'm going to use a lighter tan color as my highlight to bring out the strands. And a little bit of champagne gold to add some shine. I think this is a bit too shiny. I'm going to tone it down a bit. Alright, here's Brie Larson's face all finished. The hair looks much better. I also darkened her brows and lashes a bit, but I actually think the original face itself wasn't that bad to begin with. It's the hair that needed a bit more shading. And here's Monica. It's really good. except mine has these really obvious dots on her forehead. Kinda looks like she has those pimples that are just about to pop. And that random dot on the side of the hair. Otherwise, I would have left it as is. So first, let me do a quick wash of brown to get a very thin layer of brown over the face. My brush is too wet. I just cleaned it. Okay, the paint has dried. I worked on her eye makeup a bit more off camera. I darkened the makeup slightly, like how she looks here. Now onto the hair. I'm first gonna go over the hair with the dark brown, to patch that little dot and to give the hair a bit more color. There's a lot of hair here, so I want to add more definition to it. I'm going to use the lighter brown as my highlight. Wait, I accidentally painted over her earring. Oops, let me add it back in. And while I'm at it, let me seal the paint on the face with the matte varnish. I don't want to accidentally rub the paint off the forehead and reveal those pimples again. And let me apply the varnish over the hair as well. But I'm going to be selective so only certain parts of the hair will get this shine. Oh, there's too much shine on the face. Let me dust a thin layer of brown again to mattify it. All done. I darkened her hair even more and added a tiny bit of red to her cheeks. The original face wasn't bad, but I think she looks more lifelike now. Alright, here's Captain Marvel. What I like is that the colors remain the same, but the small details pop so much more now, especially her belt and the wristbands. The overall design of the costume is pretty simple, but the rubbery finish works so much better in my opinion. That along with the shading on the hair makes the figure look much more high-end. The original figure now looks a bit like something you'd see in the dollar store. But I don't blame Hasbro. It's the costume design that looks too basic. But I'm glad they gave us this suit and not the final suit she wore. I prefer this design more. That said, I don't know if it's just my figure, but my Captain Marvel has really stiff joints. Generally, I prefer stiff joints over loose ones. The only issue is that I feel like I'm about to snap her knee joints when I bend them due to how much pressure I'm applying. And here's Monica Rambeau. At a glance, the changes are barely noticeable, and that's because Hasbro did a pretty good job. But I do think the changes I made make the overall design look more balanced now. Maybe it's the hair, or maybe it's the eyes. The original head has this doll-like feel to it. The darker eye makeup makes Monica looks a bit more serious or focused. I don't know how to explain it, but Monica looks sharper now. Like not just the head, even the suit looks sharper. Even though all I really did was play with the finish and texture of the suit. Of the three figures, I was looking forward to Monica the most, but I think they did her dirty by not giving her any accessories. Okay, yes, they gave her an extra pair of hands, but Miss Marvel got a flirkin and Carol got those squiggly effect pieces. This is Monica's first figure after all. She deserves better. So, I'm gonna make her an energy blast effect. It's a bummer that there isn't much I can do with her when it comes to poses. So I found this one open palm hand. I think this belongs to MJ. The skin tone doesn't match, but that's fine, because Monica's hand glows white when she shoots her beam. Speaking of beam, I'm gonna recreate it with paper clips. Her power is pretty much a white light beam, kinda like a straight lightning bolt. So I'm gonna twist two paper clips together to create this somewhat erratic effect. Since it's light energy, I'm gonna paint it white to make it as bright as possible. Then, I'm gonna add a thin coat of UV resin over it so it doesn't look like two wires tangled together. And then a thin wash of blue to add a bit of blue glow to it. The same goes for the hand. Gotta make it all white. And I'm gonna connect it too with UV resin. Perfect. A bit more UV resin to make the bond a bit stronger. And a bit around the hand to make the hand look like it's glowing. And just some more final touches. Done. Not exactly what I imagined initially. It ended up thicker than I expected. But let's see what it looks like on Monica. not bad. I wish the beam is a bit thinner. It kinda looks like she's shooting out webs. I do like the subtle blue glow though. That helps. What do you think? I think it's not too bad for my first energy blast effect. I was a bit worried about ruining this hand or it being too heavy, but I'm happy with it. Now Monica can do some action poses. Alright, let's end this for the photo shoot. This Captain Marvel figure is fine. The issue for me is the minimal amount of accessories. They gave her alternate heads and glowing hands before, but now she only gets those squiggly effects that everyone else is getting. It just feels like a downgrade, despite the overall decent paint job. You know what would have been cool? If they provided an alternate torso piece, so that you can swap the torso to change between this suit and the final battle suit. Okay, I don't remember exactly what the sleeves and pants looked like on that suit. The giant star was quite distracting. But if they could make that work somehow, I think this figure would have been really cool. Monica is also very well made. She's much easier to pose, but the lack of accessories is very disappointing. The other pair of hands were good, but I couldn't figure out the right poses with those. That is why I made her this energy beam effect. And speaking of energy effects, I actually figured out a way to do Ms. Marvel's Embiggen effect. But this video is getting a bit too long, so I'm gonna save that for my next video, so stay tuned for that. Give this video a like and subscribe to see more content like this. And as always, stay inspired and I'll see you next week. I can make it, so can you.